Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Cage Talk. Remember, if you guys haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and spread the good word out for Cage Talk. So today's episode, I do have an MMA fighter who is Triple X cage fighting lightweight champion, also BTC Fight Promotions Catchweight champion, fought in the UFC. We have Kyle Prepolec. How you doing today, sir?
Good, my man. How are you?
Pretty good. Did I said the name right? The last name?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's perfect, bro. Don't worry, you're good.
There we go. Tongue twister. But again, thank you for coming on the show. It's an honor to have you. And just a simple conversation, nothing too crazy and stuff like that. But enough about me. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. Just living day by day, especially the way the world's going right now. Just trying to proceed, moving forward with everything, right? Trying to just get things going. So
Definitely.
that's about it.
And now you are a free agent right now as for an MMA fighter. So can you explain basically your day-to-day routines? Do you I'm assuming you just stay in shape, work out all day, and kind of figure it out?
Yeah, especially like right now, like because it's not as like busy or like as normal as it used to be. Training definitely a lot more right now. I'll go outside, go for a run, layer up because it's it's a little cold out right now, and I'll do whatever I can at home, and then go to little secret training sessions, get some pad work in, get some whatever working I can get in right now. It's a tough situation right now for like MMA fighters and athletes everywhere, and other people who are trying to just basically live.
Yeah.
So
I agree. It's I think for some reason, I don't know why I feel like it's harder for MMA fighters in general, just because I guess the limitation, they're so limited to everywhere you can go and gym wise and stuff like that. They still, for football, they kind of figure out a system where, they can do training camps, to do Zoom. The draft is still going to go, people are going to still get picked up, but for MMA fighters, it's like cut short. Like UFC's like they're thinning down their roster and stuff just because they can't put as many fighters on the cards and stuff anymore. So it's a little bit harder,
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. So
it's tough.
No, definitely, man. But just keep striving. Definitely. I seen your fights. I seen the way you fight and stuff. You're definitely entertaining. So you'll definitely get picked up in a matter of no time. It's just waiting for that call, man.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like you said, stay ready and wait for an opportunity again, right? Like that's all it is.
Yeah, it tends to happen where like UFC will like cut someone, and then all of a sudden they'll call them like 2 weeks later and be like, hey, you want to fight on a short week's notice. And they tend to do that a lot. I've talked to a lot of fighters, and that was like, I guess one of their main concerns is that UFC would always call them maybe like a week, 2 weeks before a fight and be like, hey, can you jump into this fight? And like you said, if you're ready to go, you're ready to go, right?
Yeah, so it's almost like it's better to stay ready. That way you don't have to get ready. And then it's just like, all right, like whatever the best shape you're in at that point, but you're ready to fight. It may not be like the perfect training camp, but you're ready to jump on that opportunity and just, give it everything you got. Show that you're ready to fight, that you are a fighter, and prove something to them that you're ready. And so that's just how it is, right?
Well, yeah, definitely. Now, when you say you have to be ready, okay, so being ready means that your cardio is in shape. You're in shape, perfect shape, that you can go and fight an MMA bout, right? And then your cardio, your diet. So does that mean that you don't have any cheat meals? Have you had a cheat meal since? I would have been like, fuck it, I'm gonna have a cheat meal.
Man, I have a cheat meal or like cheat snack almost like every day, man. Like
okay, all right.
Yeah, so it's it depends, right? Like when I know like a fight's coming or like there's like an opportunity that could present itself or like there's potential for something, like I'll clean up a little bit, and then because I like to stay light and stay like ready. Like I know if I'm within like a certain range, you know, it may suck doing like the weight cut, but I know I can still make it.
Yeah.
And still be ready, you know, not be too like deprived of energy, still in good shape where I can go like the distance and, you know, just do everything I can to, you know, make the fight a real fight.
Did you ever have that a moment or everything in your career that you kind of maybe like half-assed, and then you had to play catch up and stuff? Because I again, like I said, I talked to a couple fighters where they were like maybe like 10, 15 pounds over, and they said that the weight cuts were brutal and shit. Or are you
Yeah,
pretty?
yeah, I've had some tough ones and I've had some easy ones, but the tough ones were mostly like when I was just learning how to cut weight, when I've just like was just fresh to like being a pro and actually cutting weight. Because before I never really cut weight. I was just like, yeah, it's an AMI career. Let's go in, have fun. You know, these are the goals. And then once it's time to go pro, let's get to this weight class. Let's do this, you know, like almost like a structured plan kind of thing, just like a safer route kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's only a few times where it was like, yeah, I'll make it, because cutting to 55 was easy. I tried to cut to 45 once, and I was like, my God, I'll never do that again, because it was just terrible. It was a bad experience, man.
Yeah. I think that's probably the worst thing about that is that cutting the weight. I mean, I know they had the bare knuckle soon, and they have guys that are, you know, they're not prime anymore. They're above their age and stuff, and they're still making them cut weight. I'm like, come on, man. Like, that's rough. You're getting a 40, 47, 46-year-old to cut weight and come on, that's rough.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, but it's also our choice too, right? Like,
yeah,
they could you know, ask and negotiate for that. Like, it's like, hey, you know, I used to fight 185. Like, if I'm like Chris Lieben, for example, I'm like, you know, 185 at UFC, but I'm fighting. Is he still fighting 185 for bare knuckle?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I know he fights soon. I don't even know. But
so yeah, like if he's like still fighting at that, I'm like, you know what, props to you, because you know you're getting up there and it's a lot harder as you like get older, right? So I'm told anyway. So who knows? Like Randy Couture was doing it and cutting to 205 and, you know, doing his thing, then fighting heavyweight.
That's Captain America, man. Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like, so he's gangster.
Yeah, he is. I mean, when I came in, when I started watching UFC is when Randy was starting, when he just finished beating Tito Ortiz and stuff like that, and he was competing for the light heavyweight champion. And I was just in awe, man. And I'm not a big wrestler person. That's not my background and stuff like that, but I like striking. But, man, it was just something about him just taking these guys down and just putting a beating on them. And Randy was probably my biggest inspiration to go into MMA and to watch and stuff. Who was yours by any chance? Did you have? I mean, if you say GSP, I mean, it's cliche because you're Canadian and shit. But.
Yeah. Like the OG guys, when I really started getting into it, like hardcore, was everyone from the Militech camp, from like Matt Hughes, Rich Franklin,
okay,
you know, Jens Pulver, like all those, Robbie Lawler, back when Lawler was like 18. So like Matt Hughes was like the original guy, and then even looking back at it, Frank Shamrock, like just watching those guys, and like even when Frank fought in like Strikeforce and all that against like Phil Baroni and all that, I'm like, man, this is just like, it's so crazy how they're still going at it and just giving it. Like, I just like Frank's personality. Like, the guy was a beast on the ground, but he was so entertaining as a striker too. And he's just a savage.
Yeah.
And then I love the dominance from Matt Hughes. And then, you know, going to like the Pride days, I obviously like Crow Cop because I'm half Croatian. So
okay,
yeah.
You got a little Crow Cop, and you kind of look a little. You got resemblance a little bit.
Yeah, that's the Croatian, like, European look. Yeah. So who else, man? Like Dan Henderson, man, like all those guys, like all the like old school guys from the Pride days, and like before and during the Ultimate Fighter 1, basically. So all those guys too, man. Like
I
you
mean,
scroll.
Pride back in the day, before again, like you said, Ultimate Fighter, Pride was the show. I mean, there was no doubt that every athlete, every fighter wanted to be in Pride because that was the top of the top. You know, you just had,
Yeah.
and they were all in their prime too. Like, I'm not saying anything about Dan Henderson or Vanderlei Silva or Migro Crocop, but the UFC got them towards the end of their career. I mean, they're prime. They were prime in Pride, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
Just you could totally see the difference between like when they were in Pride and transitioning over from how they were just killing everybody and just destroying with just pure violence, and then it like slowed down a bit. So it's like, okay, like don't get me wrong, I even think Hendo near when he was out of Pride getting to UFC and then went to Strike Force and then destroyed everybody and then came back and was just wrecking everyone. I'm like, man, Hendo's a beast too. Like it seemed like the older he was getting, the more he was just able to like kick ass, you know, like it was awesome.
he had that chin, man. That chin was crimson chin, man. Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah, no doubt. And it was crazy. And then when they get older and stuff, and then you see him competing and stuff, like, again, the one that kind of irks me still to this day that I wish it just never happened was the Chuck Liddell Ortiz story. That one, I was like, nah, why? Because I love Chuck Liddell. Randy and Chuck were like my two guys, and I was just like, no, don't do it. Same thing when Randy fought Lyoto Machida. I'm like, it's not a good matchup for you, Randy. It's not. Like, it was just, again.
Yeah.
There's always a certain time, and I understand Pride, and they still want to challenge themselves, and that's probably being a fighter is probably their ultimate demise, is their mentality, you know, thinking that they still got the chance and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's the fighter mentality. So it is what it is.
Now, talking about a little bit about your career, man. All right, so what was your highlight as of right now? Because again, you're only 31. You're gonna get picked up by a promotion and stuff. What was your biggest highlight as of right now?
I think the biggest highlights, I would say between the fights of when I fought Cody Pfister on short notice for BTC to get that championship, and then when I got called on a week's notice to fight Nordine Taleb at 170.
And
I think those are
did it make
highlights.
it like a bittersweet just because, again, that was on short notice and like you beat him? I feel like that would be like, if I got that, I'm like, hell yeah, like you guys called me, I wasn't even supposed to fight, and I beat him, like, you get me? So I think that would be like props to me, like. But,
yeah, no, that's basically how I felt. I'm like, after I like fought Pfister, I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I am able to be at this level and, you know, fight 155ers, beat 155ers, and you know what? Like, and then getting that short notice call at 170, I'm like, you know, I can hold my own. Like, I know I got, you know, top level striking, and you know, I'm working more on the ground because obviously, like, it's I think more of like a Connor style, you know, more or like a Poirier. Let's strike and, you know,
where it goes.
you know, use my wrestling and grappling more as a defense to get up and just, you know, pound someone's face off. So, you know, that's more my style. So even though I do like grappling and all that stuff, I way prefer to strike. So that's why that's kind of what I go for anyway. Be like those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Now, when you got into the UFC again, how was the transition, as in competition wise? Everyone always talks about, you know, they talk about Bellator, that it's not, you know, compared to UFC, it's, you know, it's way different, this and that, and you know, you have Invicta and other fighting promotions. But in your opinion, through your personal eyes, what did you see was the biggest difference with the competition compared to other promotions?
It's really hard to say because it's like, you know, no matter where you go,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be killers.
Yep, definitely.
There's always going to be killers, and there's always going to be elites on the rise that just may not have gotten noticed yet. Like, maybe I was on the radar for UFC, but I don't know. But I know as soon as like after I beat Cody Pfister, someone who's been in the elite with the elites and had 4 or whatever fights he's had in there and had victories and losses against big names, but like I think that really helped and propelled myself to get to that status to be like, okay, this is a force to be reckoned with. Let's get him, and he's ready to fight short notice against one of the biggest welterweights and one of the top like contenders, and in Nordine. All right, let's give him a shot. Why not? Like, so I'm like, all right, sweet, let's go. Like,
Definitely, man. Now talking about a little bit about the UFC, what were the pros in being in the UFC and what were the cons? Again, I heard a lot about the cons, some about the pros. Just in your personal experience, again, every fighter is different. Every fighter has a different experience with the company.
Let's see. Honestly, like through my whole experience, like everything that like happened, everything's like a team.
Okay.
Like from like everything that's done is like a team. Like everything is so like structured. Like they give you like these little pamphlets and pieces of paper letting you know, and then there's always somebody there to help you and assist you if you have any questions. So like if I have to go to this meeting room at this time, they'll be like, oh hey, no, like this is for like this group, you're this group, you have to be there for this time that way you can use the workout room or you do whatever basically. Or like, hey, like you're cutting weight, do you have people that are going to help you with meal plans? No? Okay, well the UFC will get you meal plans and make something for you with like Trifecta or like whoever they're using, right?
Gotcha.
So then like I said, there's always somebody helping you. Like if you need help cutting weight or whatever, they'll bring you to a gym or they have like saunas in the hotel for you, and they have like personal ones that you can use. There's just, like I said, there's always a structure. It's a team. Everything's always followed and ordered. I think it's pretty cool. Like, I was suffering from like a little metabolic disorder called rhabdo, which is mostly, or rhabdomyolysis, which is one of the reasons why I got released, because I wasn't healthy when I fought my last fight against Austin. And basically my body went into rhabdo and they had no idea why. Did a bunch of blood work, got a muscle biopsy, couldn't really narrow down what was going on. Okay. And, the UFC would send me to the States to go get like tests and go get help by doctors. And, they had like their fighter insurance, which I think is sweet because it was good for a year. So they were able to, and, we always had contact with somebody to, go to the next step, go the extra mile. And it's like in UFC, I'm just a newcomer. I'm not anything special yet. Like I got to work my way up to be like those top 10 guys and, get that crazy treatment that I think that they all get. But it's like, I was just a normal guy, just back to the roster, whatever, just getting in there and, being treated like, just like everybody else, like with like their healthcare and their insurance. Like, they're like, hey, you couldn't figure out, we're going to send you next week and we want you to see this specialist. And, I was like, that's pretty cool. So I appreciated that big time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I didn't answer your last question about like the difference in the promotions other than like the fighters, but I'll answer it.
Definitely.
I thought of it. For me, I think all the stages are the same, just different platforms, and one buddy even said to me, he's like, we all fight in the cage and we all share the same thing. It's just a bigger cage and the numbers get bigger. And I'm just like, man, that is the realest shit I ever heard. And that's smart, like the competition is, tough and difficult because we all have the same dream. We're all chasing that same thing in the UFC to get to be the top of the top. Right. And, it's true. It's all the same stage, just different platforms. And you'll fight killers no matter where you go. And the numbers just get bigger when you're on the bigger platform.
Yep. I mean, that's 100% true. I mean, you never even thought about it like that, but like, it's true. You're man.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. He's one of my homies from Michigan Top Team that I always train with. And, he's a beast. Mo Williams. He's my boy.
That's awesome. Yeah. Shout out to Mo Williams. There you go.
Yeah, he's been
talking about a little bit about your departure from the UFC. So they kept on giving you where you could go and get tests and stuff, and they just couldn't figure it out what was wrong and stuff like that.
Yeah, we just couldn't figure out like what was triggering like my body to go into that, because it's been an ongoing battle for like the past since I cut to 145. It's been on and off for so long. Like it was like 9-10 years now. It was weird. Like anytime I held my body at a really low weight, like just walking around, like I would feel great, but my body didn't like it. So my body would go into it. So anytime I'd cut weight, rehydrate, warm up in the dressing room, and then all of a sudden my body goes into rhabdo and it affects my legs. And I'm like, well, I got to do what I can do. I can't just be like, oh, I can't fight now. Like, so I just go in there and do my best. So yeah. So after all that, we kind of have, we do have a solution now, which is, there's a few supplements that I'm taking that are, it's helping, because we think it's a certain deficiency that my body is not producing enough of. So, I'll take some L-carnitine, which helps, because it might be CPT2 deficiency or a different one that we've narrowed down. So, ever since then, we did a mock cut, I guess and we simulated, when was this? Last year in the summertime, we simulated, I went through, like a fake fight camp, did everything the way I normally would, just kept myself at a little bit higher weight. And with that same diet and supplementation with more carbs, more protein instead of protein and fats, changed it up, and then
worked.
Everything worked perfect. So now it's just all right, now let's just refine everything. Let's hope this, COVID stuff passes. Let's get a fight, and let's get back to the UFC, because they said once everything's figured out, I strum up a couple wins and all that, and obviously do well, be healthy. In the email and everything was like, you're welcome back at any time, and you just got to prove yourself. Hey, and you know what? Sometimes you got to be pulled back to shoot further, right? So definitely. I'm down for the challenge.
So your main goal is to get back into the UFC. That's where you're shooting.
Of course. Yeah, of course. That's the biggest North American promotion, and I think it's the biggest. I think it's one, if not the biggest, aside from one and all that. But I think that's where the elites of the elites, the ultimate fighters, is in UFC. That's where I think the best of the best is, and I want to be where the best of the best are.
Definitely. All right, man. And we'll definitely I have faith in you. I believe in you. I mean, I've seen you fight before, and it wasn't like you were on a 4, lose. You weren't losing 4. You didn't lose 4 matches in a row, and they knocked you off like that. I mean, it was for medical reasons, stuff like that. So, I think in time that we'll eventually find you back in the UFC, and I can't wait for that. That'll be awesome, man. That'll be really awesome.
Yeah, it'll be. I'll be so pumped, man. You have no idea. It's just. I want to bring that energy the way Michael Chandler brought that energy. He's 34 years old and he just came out, and that post-fight speech, it just amped me up. And I'm like, that's how I want to come back. That's how I want to come back. I want to be in there, be explosive, and, prove my point. I want to let there be no doubt, that this is it. This is my time.
That was definitely, there was no question in him. That fight, I mean, it was incredible. You know what? I had him winning, but I had him actually going through a decision. But you know what? That's why I don't bet, because clearly I would have. I mean, I would have won.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. But but again, anything you want to say to maybe a rising MMA fighter or anyone who's just going through anything that's trying to get to the top? Any words of encouragement for them before we let you go, man?
Any words of encouragement? Enjoy the process. That's the best thing you could do. Don't chase the money. It'll come to you. Just worry about what fighting is actually about. Worry about the sport. Don't be afraid to go out and train elsewhere and cross train. Learn from the veterans. Learn from the better guys. Don't be don't be shy to get, beat up and humbled. Like, learn from everybody. Enjoy the ups and downs, because once you feel like it's the lowest of lows, it only gets so much better. Like, after that, like, there's so many times where not only myself, but other fighters that I've even known and experienced with that, we have such lows at sometimes, because we'll like lose a couple in a row, and it's just like, man, like, this is depressing. And then after you strum up a few wins, then all of a sudden you get called. And then it's just like, man, you think it's all of a sudden like the end of your fighting for like some people. And then all of a sudden one extra win and against a big opponent that you're like, I'm not going to give up. Like, let's give it another shot. And then you just skyrocket. Anything can happen. Anything's possible as long as you put the effort in, because effort is that secret ingredient to success. And yeah.
Oh man, that's perfect. I mean, there is a lot of young fighters out there that do watch the show and stuff like that. So it's always good to hear, they don't want to hear from me, because who am I? They want to hear from a professional fighter and stuff like that. So again, I would just want to say thank you so much, Kyle, for coming on. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you on, man. And
yeah, thank you.
hopefully we see you back in that ring, man. Or that cage.
Yeah, hopefully soon, man. I don't want to be on the shelf too long. I want to get in there, I got lots of life left, so I want to use it.
Definitely, man. All right. Thank you so much, buddy. Have a good one. All right.
Yeah.